Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the second race of Bavarian Racing Challenge 1976 edition. This is Nomovaxo speaking here, and along with me, a lot of people. Present yourselves.
Hello, this is Pyrlix here.
Hi, here's the buyer.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it's Kay Leonardo.
So, this race is going to be raced on Diepholz, and as usual, we would like to know something about throwing our cars inside the circuit. So, do you have some Wikipedia information about this racetrack, Roland?
Yes, of course I have. I'm looking at the encyclopedia right now, and it's a track in Germany, located in Diepholz, which is in a northern part of Germany. It's a temporary circuit on a military airfield, as you can see. Again, airfield. It's a German thing. It's 2.7 kilometers long, has 12 corners, and yeah, it's temporary track. It's very exciting. It has straight.
Yeah.
The record was set by Bob Wallach in 1989 with his Porsche 962, and he did the whole track in just 50 seconds.
50, that.
50. 50.19.
Okay,
Yeah, that was back in the glorious DRM days. With hundreds of horsepower. Yeah.
Anyway, this is not just a German thing to put tracks on airfields, because it seems that also in England they used to do it.
Yes, a lot of English tracks did that as well.
But they all became into how do you call it? Full-time race circuits.
Oh, true.
Those just were done with pylons and.
Oh. Okay.
But yeah, this track is in general it's one of the more exciting tracks in the whole season now. We have tracks with a lot of straights only, but this one is one of the ones with more corners.
Well, so let's take a look how the qualification and how our cars performed on this track.
Yes, indeed.
Different from the one of the last time, and at least there's a little bit more corner than in Betonschleife. So, how's the situation?
Here we have the qualification results of this race. Maybe we should take a look at the top trumps of the top 10 first, and then at the whole results as well. So, this is the top 10 trump cards. And as we can see, these are the usual suspects.
Yes, there is not a single car under 400 horsepower.
Yes, we have a lot of, we have just, is it 3 cars or 4 cars under 500, and the rest is over 500 or even over 600 horsepower.
Yeah, the crazy roller coaster.
And all the cars use semi-slick tires, so the sports tire cars are further up the back of the grid.
It'll be interesting to see if they'll have any benefits with the impending weather that we will have today.
But that's just the thing, like, this is just the qualification results. It will all change in the race.
As we see in the first race, because in the first race there was a lot of scramble.
We didn't even make it through the first corner cleanly. I think we had a safety car on what, lap 2?
Well, it was very early, I don't remember exactly but yes. Yeah, the safety car.
Also, as you can see, the whole top 10 is the domination of double on top hot cheese with 4 beefs. Double overhead cams, 4 valves.
Yes, and the first 7 cars are turbocharged. Only the last 3 are naturally aspirated engines. Yes, this is what I presume from the torque curve.
It is.
Correct.
Absolutely correct.
Lemmy slicks, there is not a single sports tires, all semi slicks.
Yes, the whole top 10 only has them slicks, and the tire choices are like the ratio between front tires with and rear tires with is very interesting on some cars. Like Leo has very thin front tires, but super wide ones on the rear.
Don't mix those up on pit road.
Yeah, you shouldn't. Then again, the difficulty is reasonably within the range of 2, except again for Trollcoaster, who has the most difficult car in the top 10.
I still can't get over the solid 4.
Yes.
Another interesting thing that I think a lot of the cars have here is that everybody's pretty decent on safety this season. It seems like the top 10 is all, except for 2 or 3 cars, over 40 in the crash test. So engine reliability is another place where there's some more quality this year. Everybody's pretty much in the mid-20s or low 30s, except for Marat, who has 19.1, but that did not inhibit him last race.
Well, maybe he likes to live dangerous.
He's missing Vicus, probably.
Yes, maybe. But yeah,
And maybe he just likes to complain when his car explodes.
Yeah.
But now he cannot complain because his car has such a low reliability, so when it will detonate, and he cannot complain of the RNG Jesus.
Yeah,
And,
of course he still can this in some random.
also, then we have cornering. We have Critical Set, who has an extremely high cornering, as well as Absurdist, 1.2 Gs and 1.19 Gs on the high speed. That's quite a thing.
It looks like everyone up here is around 1.1 Gs or better. Actually, Haller Automotive, our pole sitter, has the lowest cornering scores with 1.05 at low speed and 1.04 Gs at high speed. But that car, even without an insane amount of horsepower, still very respectable at 515. That car's still making it around the track the fastest and came off of a win last race.
Indeed. We should take a look at the whole qualification results in numbers. And we can see some people actually share the same times. Like Mr. Holler Automotive and the Bavarian, they are pretty much equally fast.
So, Martin, if you would please, explain to the viewers at home, how does the program determine who gets the pole when their time is identical?
When the time is identical, then the one who made it first is the one in front.
Does it calculate further out and it just doesn't show that, or is it really just who at first come, first serve?
It calculates to 5,000ths of a second. So that's cut off and rounded.
Okay.
So maybe Holler Automotive was 5,000ths faster, or we don't know.
So either way, by the absolute slimmest of margins.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Close to them, in third position we have Absolutist, just 6/10 of a second behind, then we cents of a second. Fourth place we have Critical Set, as we see, and at the same time, very close, Met MR2.
And
This was
super close behind, we have Troller Coaster with just 1/10 of a second behind. Or 100th of a second behind.
We have
Then we
Leo
have
in
on,
7th, still
yes,
only
and
3
7th
tenths
place.
behind that. It's kind of a repeat of last time, if you will. We have a cluster of cars all within 113. We have a slightly larger cluster of cars within 114, and they're jam-packed in the latter half of the second there.
Yes, we have
And
a
then-
huge block of 115s after that.
Yes. And that's pretty much last time. Maybe if we scroll down a little ways, I think it was down to about 30s last time. We were all clustered in. Here,
Around,
I think
yeah.
it has. Yeah, it's a little less this time around. Only down to 30. What is that? Second. But still, I mean, it's very close all the way down to even the 40s. And again, because this was done on brand new tires with the least amount of fuel possible on a perfect racetrack, we have no idea what it's going to look like as we dive into turn 1 and who's even going to have the lead as we make the first lap. I mean, Haller Automotive got into a crash last race, so it's really going to be a toss-up over the next 75 laps, I believe today's race is, correct?
Yeah.
Indeed. We will see what the race gives. I mean, look at the rain forecast. It will be mostly dry for the first 20% of the race, and then it will start to go very damp at some points.
I'm very curious to that last portion of the race there where it starts to track up. I want to see how that's going to affect
Yes.
everyone in the late part of the race. How did they plan their fuel strategy? I know there's a lot of cars that are stopping anyway. I think I saw some chat in the garage area about some people have planned 4 stops, some people have planned more, some people have planned none and they're just going to let the weather dictate it to them. So it could be quite the spectacle as the rain gets finicky. And of course, that's just a forecast. It could be completely wrong.
could be. But pretty much the whole forecast thing is interesting. Like, I think we will see, in the last 20%, we will see heavy rain. Probably. And we will see a lot of changes maybe to wets or even into intermediates. So it could be quite interesting in this last bit.
I know everybody is looking forwards to the next forecast where there's basically just no rain.
But then again, it's a very boring track with just straight, corner, straight. You know, a very slow track, or a very fast track with no corners.
Well, let's not put the cart before the horse, as we still have race 2 to see start off momentarily.
Yes, and enough of the blah blah, it's time to hit the lamp switch, isn't it?
Yes, you're the traffic light master, then...
Again, we have the small preview of the cars, which is usually here. And there we go.
Here we go.
Have red lights.
Red lights.
8% rain and 8% track humidity to start.
We have full red.
Drivers ready?
And we have full
we're
green
off.
lights. Green lights. Race is on.
Get off the
Get up
line,
a
there's
little
some
bit.
shuffling in the top 10.
Moving slowly. Come up.
Yeah. And we
we
already
have
have
a crash.
Absurdist in the lead.
First crash, small. Just
A small crash. And
How about
another crash.
another small bump.
With the 2 leaders bumping
two
as they
leaders,
go
yes.
for a pass into the corner.
Are they angry at each other? We don't know.
Critical set is already lost 4th place.
And another crash between Taekwondo and Kalashnikov ammunition.
There's a
Yeah,
lot
it's
of
only-
bumping and banging going on here in the first lap.
It's only some leaning onto each other. It's nothing serious yet.
The Bob
Yeah,
Wiley
it's just
lap
scratching.
1.
Small fender
Another crash.
Just like a pit scratch. And another crash between Fanta and...
Little
now
bit
this,
serious.
now we have dents. Oh, and well,
Oh,
Nice
big
That was a
crash.
very big
First
crash.
This is a good one. Oh,
And
Oh, and
another
another
one.
Leo.
What is going
Leo.
on?
Leo.
Leo and Matt M2, a lot of wrecks in the front. And another one with Nevermore and UM Gaming, my mistake there. A lot of these are a big driver error from Bob and Bob Law.
Now we have the brake dust colliding into each other. With just 0.1% of a crash.
And Roller Coaster is in the lead.
And we have
The new fastest lap.
We have Trollercoaster on the lead right now.
He's running a 112.1. The next car is running a 113.7. Got some cars in the pits here,
Leo is in the pits.
as well
Yes.
as Nerd, it looks like, and I forget who he got tangled up with there. They're probably both getting some extensive damage repaired. Matt MR2, though, with 64% damage, is staying out.
That's quite dangerous for him.
Of course,
Could you
so
enable the auto scroll?
Yes, I just want to enable it right now. And we have a lot of best laps set, or best passing laps set right now.
he's actually tapered off here, which is cloudy now, and the track humidity has dropped to 6%
And with
from
another
the starting
tiny
8%.
crash, just a tiny crash.
There's a car running on 2 minutes.
Somebody must
Yes,
have planned for some more rain.
This DSX Mankia running on intermediates already. Could be a clever strategy right now, because when the rain starts, he doesn't have to change to them. So it could be a good strategy just for him.
Especially if the safety car is coming out at some point and you can catch up all the gap he accumulated until then. Leo is probably also hoping for a safety car soon.
Also, Trollercoaster is still in the lead, but for how long?
Until he stops, probably.
Probably until he needs to refuel. His
Well,
acceleration is mad. Look
The
at it.
first
a lot of-
cars, the first two cars are on a similar strategy.
And another tiny crash.
Because I was going to say there is a lot of pressure in that zone, and Frankenstein Marcos 817 drivers were
roller coaster is doing 240 km per hour on the main straight. That is
There is
fast.
a lot of pressure also in the middle of the pack.
Yes.
Yeah, that's where all the pressures
22nd
are
and
happening.
29th place.
Virans, Stenson, Pyrrhix, people, but they all have a ton of pressure on them.
Strigaland is in.
Yeah, that range right there from 22nd on back to about 28 could seriously cause some issues if they don't get some space between them. Where there's a lot of engineers a little nervous watching those cars go around the track, pushing it this hard when there's still 70 laps to go.
Yes, it's 70 laps to go still. Also a planned pit stop already? That's interesting.
Wow.
It's also called planned if it replaces a planned pit
Oh.
stop. So if its pit stop window is big enough, then stop, so to say.
Although, what could have happened just now that it was enough to change the pit stop? I mean, were they on... They had to change their tires? It's very early in the race for a planned pit stop, or even an unplanned pit stop that
Maybe
took
he
its
had-
place.
Maybe he had damage and wanted to.
Okay.
Maybe its margin is very small.
That, or we had it... Maybe some people have 10% as their window for unplanned stops due to damage. We've now just crossed that because we're on lap 7 here. Just changed over to 8 with Roller Coaster in the lead by about 4.4 seconds.
Roller coasting is still doing fast laps, but he is getting slower now. Per lap, he is getting slower.
Yeah, tire wear is hitting in. All the power must go to the road, but his tires.
It must go
probably
to the
worn
road
already.
somewhere, and the driver error by steel.
And he's also losing his load on the tires as the fuel tank drains.
A little more wheel spin.
The whole 644 horsepower, they have to go somewhere, and that's probably not just in air.
He's down to 17 kilograms, and by the time I finish the sentence, he'll probably be down to 16.
Yes,
And
he will.
but he's still maintaining a 4.6 second lead. His tires, though, are starting to wear. He's definitely got the most tire wear out of the top 10. It looks
Yes.
like he's got 8% on the front and 10% on the rear. So you're taking weight off, and you're starting to get through about half of your usable tire life. I'm sure the driver there is starting to feel it, but he's got a big enough cushion. Although Bob Wiley took a chunk out of the lead right there, down to 3.8 second lead now.
And he is getting closer with every lap, especially Roller Coaster has to refuel at some point. It will probably this lap or next lap, considering his fuel consumption. I wonder if he will do a lap on the Nordschleife with this consumption. I think not.
Well, how long is this track?
This track has 2.6 kilometers.
Yeah.
The
Well, we've
Nordschleife
done what,
has
10?
Crash
Ooh,
again!
A big crash between Leo and Groundhog.
Leo definitely needs to pit now.
Again, yeah.
Yeah, he's already pit once, and now you have to pit another one, another time.
And Roller Coaster is in the pits.
Yes,
Yeah.
and he's getting overtaken now by everyone.
So he made it, what, 10 full laps and then part of the 11th before he had to come in, or...
And
Yeah.
now he's back in the pit. Yeah, he has to do every 11 laps a pit, so that means
That's
around seven
six,
pit stops.
6 pit stops. Yeah.
And that was a 28-second pit stop. That's a long time to take on fuel.
Well, take on fuel and take fresh tires.
Well, Martin, how long are the tire stops this year?
10 to 15 seconds.
10 to 15 seconds. So really a solid 13 of that stop was just for fuel. That has to be as
Additionally,
annoying as the driver.
The full 28 seconds he refueled.
Right. I mean that in addition to the tires.
Yeah.
When the jacks drop, he has to wait on the fuel.
Yeah.
That has to be frustrating to watch the cars go blowing by while you're still taking on
Also,
gasoline.
worth mentioning, AK Ammo, Rezo and Bebop Boy have a full-blown pressure meter.
The driver are hardly resisting to the assault of the cars behind them.
So now, is that just a multiplier as to the difficulty of the car, or is that going to make the drivers tired? How does that work, Martin?
It's just a multiplier for the error chance in the end. Yeah.
So when it's full, is it basically 100%, or what's the variance?
I don't know. I
Okay.
would have to look that up.
Interesting question. But
I
no,
think it can double the chance or something. Like
okay. So yeah, there's quite a few cars with a lot of pressure on them. Even the Bob Wiley out in front is under pressure from Howler Automotive. Of course, Howler Automotive is going to have to pit very soon. He's only got 8 kilograms of fuel, but it looks like there might be a pass coming up for the lead.
Also a major driver error by P-Boy 123.
He was
First
actually
car
running
out.
well.
Yeah, he's actually running quite good this time.
He was up in the top 20, I think,
top
earlier.
15, yeah.
Now he's in the top 23.
He's dropped 9 spots from that driver error on this lap. He had made 5 passes in a lap earlier. I had noticed it, but we had some wrecks going on.
Don't forget he's damaged now, so he will lose even more. Troller Course is back on 14th to 13th place now.
And that's not good for him because he's going to fall back into the clutches of that pack that's racing back there. And we saw this last time. When he got back in the pack, he wasn't very good at making it past cars. Now the question is here.
A tiny scratch.
But as I was saying before the little bump, the question is here, are there more braking zones? Are there more overtaking opportunities? Are the straightaways long enough that he can get his car past traffic to try and get up in contention when the other people start pitting?
That's the problem.
Yeah.
His car is a car optimized for straights and only for straights. In corners it will fail, and when he has to refuel he will fail as well. But when he gets on the straights and on speed, he can overtake you. I mean,
If it wasn't for the 2 chicanes at this track, this car would be, he'd run away with it. But those 2
I
chicanes
mean,
on the front and the back.
look at the start-stop straight. His car puts 240 on this straight. It's like not possible for any car here.
Well,
But
that's
it's-
640
Howler
horsepower
Automotive
for
going
you.
to the pit, leaving the chase of Bob Wiley, but now Merat is close to Bob Wiley with
Yes.
comparable time per lap. So I think if Bob Wiley the Bob Wiley driver continued to be pressured by Merat, what we're going to see.
Well, there's a very small gap there, and perhaps the Bob Wiley was slowed down a little bit with Howler on his heels. He's not going to be able to recover too much, and Merat is moving about 0.4 of a second faster. He could pass him next lap.
He could. I think Marat has a chance to get on the podium this time. His car is performing really good, but the engine is not reliable enough, I think.
The
Well,
engine is an incognito.
You can see what they went for here. They figured that they're either going to go for the front or
He's
they're
first.
going to go for the garage.
He overtaken and is in first position.
It's a risky strategy. I mean, Vikings did that last time, and we saw what happened. And Rizzo. Marat is first in lead now.
And he's going to pull away. Bob Wiley's driver will have an opportunity to catch his breath as he has this pretty much a 7-second lead back to Absurdist in third. Critical Set 9849 in fourth. Puffster in fifth. Air Jordan in sixth. Troller Coaster in seventh after his pit stop. Cool Key in eighth. Howler Automotive after his first pit stop in ninth. And Ty Condoro rounding out the top 10.
Looking at Marat right now, his first sector is quite fast. His second sector is also quite fast, but his third sector is also quite fast. Wow.
It's quite fast.
It is indeed quite
On
fast.
this bombshell.
But now his first sector is slower than the Bob Wiley's.
They have comparable times. It's just a matter of pressure.
Also, the Troller Course is back in 7th place.
Wow.
He
he's
is fast.
He will pit soon, so lap 22 is coming soon.
Yeah, it's coming to his neighborhood soon.
So now, a little news out of the garage area in pit lane. Remember how Frankenstein was in a little bit of a scuffle early on? He's taken on 40% damage. His engineers tell me that that's just underneath their threshold to pit, and it's costing them about 1.5 seconds per lap. because they're just under that threshold. They really are hoping for a scheduled pit stop soon.
And
Merritt
Bob
is in
Wiley
the
is back in first place because Merritt is in the pits for a
And
planned
the rain
pit
is
stop.
picking up.
Yeah, I was going to say that. The rain started picking up around
Good for
2%.
Roller Coaster because he's now climbing up.
And he must pit anyway, so...
Yes, he must pit soon. He will fall down again.
Merritt already took intermediates, so that was perfect timing.
Yes, it was absolutely perfect timing for him. He now can stay out for a long time, even when all the people have to pit because of intermediates.
Yeah, this is going to cause a shakeup. Who planned their rain strategy just right to be able to take on intermediate tires during their first stop? And then the next question is, who has enough fuel range to make it to the next stop and maybe only do a 2-stop race?
And the rain is indeed picking up.
And we see that someone did not...
A lot of crew
lot
from
of
the
planned
pit
pit
is
stops.
moving out, so we're expecting a lot of cars pitting soon.
Yes, a lot of
Absurdist
tires
is
are
on
being
slick
rolled.
tires after his pit stop.
He's still on slick. Oh,
He's on slicks.
that is interesting. It could be dangerous out here with slicks.
Definitely have to feather the throttle with that much power and not much grip.
The leader is in the pits, roller coaster getting new tires.
Well timed for him.
Oh no, it's
But he's-
critical. Set
But
another
Rollcoaster
yellow
also is
car.
in the pits.
Yeah.
Merad has taken the lead, and it looks like he's back out on the track with intermediate tires and a full tank of fuel, and he'll be able to pull away from second, who's still in the pits.
Yes, and his strategy went actually quite well because he's in first place with intermediates already, and he can move on and on and on. Unless, of course, the weather will go over his wet threshold, then he has to go in again. But so will other people. Interesting. We have still a couple of people sitting there on slick tires. I would consider that quite dangerous in this weather.
It's not. It's only 11% above the point where it's better to be on the intermediate, so could be a viable option. It's not that that you lose 5 seconds per lap. More in the range of 1 or 2 seconds. So
Also worth a mention, Bebop Boy has still ultra high pressure.
My pit stop planning didn't work for a couple of laps, unfortunately.
Mine worked out all right, but it appears that my team didn't take on fuel. I'm a little concerned about that.
So
Also-
maybe it was outside your pit stop window probably. So
We already have two
Didn't take
cars
fuel.
on wet tires. On wet tires.
Seems too early.
And the first people
When what?
doing driver errors. Austrogalant.
We have a
Slightly damaged, but yeah, it worked out for him. All the people can just hope now for a critical damage or critical crash, so the safety car can come out and everyone can regain places. That would be good for Leo, I guess.
yeah, but Leo might already be a lap down, so I don't know if that would be enough for him.
They'll have 2 cars on slicks in the top 10.
Well, we just have 50% of the humidity yet. I would be
Also
more worried
one in
if it would be
16.
100%. Yeah, Leo is 1 lap down already.
Yeah, diesel car,
And-
the last
and
car on the
we
lead lap.
started to see the issues of 644 horsepower on a wet track.
Yeah, 17% damage. That's not going to help matters at all. Already a difficult car. That's going to really slow some things down in the roller coaster camp.
So on the top 10 we have Merat in first position with a solid 21 seconds of gap to the second critical set.
Oh, wow.
8:49, close followed 8-second Behind we have Howler Automotive, and followed closely by the Bob Wiley and Absurdist. They are fighting all for the 3rd place. Then we have Puffster in 6th position, followed close by Jordan. Then we have
Bavarian.
the car number 80. And closely followed by Trollokov.
Very closely by Trollokov followed. Actually, just overtaken now. And in 10th place we have Cool K on 11th place. Right behind him, or her, we have Stenson. Then there's a big gap to Taekwondo, Mr. Chips and their buyer.
And there's 3 cars very closely together around the buyer. It's Mr. Chips, Taekwondo and the buyer. Pretty big fight around there.
Then we have at the place 10, 21 and 22 we have Rizzo, Frankenstein and Pyrlix. Fighting probably for place 20, but who knows. And the rain is still going on. I don't think the rain will chill down. It will probably pick up even more in the whole race.
And the leader is still the fastest car on the track.
He is. I think Mara did a perfect strategy here. It went for him perfectly. He's very fast.
Watch his tire wear. He has basically a full tank and already a lot of tire wear.
Yes,
so
that can be a problem for him, but
yeah.
It's a 22-second gap, so
yeah,
that's
he's still the
a lot of
fastest.
gap.
We have to see. Yeah.
Also, we don't know when the rain is going to pick up for humidity to have wets. That could be an interesting point of turn.
Yeah.
According to the forecast, I don't think we're going to see any big increase of the rain until the last third of the race. So I think from the 52% we're going to only see probably a reduction of the wetness of the track.
Also, DSX Markia, who went on intermediate from the beginning of the race, is in 28th place. And what I can remember, he was down to 40-ish, so it worked for him.
But you never
For
know
now.
where he would be if he was on slicks
Yes,
at first.
that's the thing, but he didn't have to go into the pits for the change, so it may have worked out, it may have not worked out.
Yeah.
Well, he's going to have to pit eventually. I don't know that he's going to be able to run the full length on the tires he has now and the fuel he has now. Perhaps he scheduled it to try and roll the dice, go on wet tires for that last stint, or maybe even a fresh set of intermediates when we see the rain pick up again.
Also, Marat is still in first place, who knew, and he's still going very fast.
And he's still putting 0.4 of a second a lap, if not more, on his next closest competitor.
He's still a sub 1 minute 20, which is good.
Of course, he's not the fastest car on the track. Howler Automotive is running some fast laps. Bob Wiley's running some fast laps. Troller Coaster, though, now with his damage and the rain, has dropped into mediocrity, basically, and is running the same kind of lap times, a 1:20.58, as most of the competitors around him. Still marginally faster just because of that brutal acceleration when it finally hooks up. But the damage has cost him.
When the turbo spools, he will go forward, but it's wet now, his tires are getting worn, his car is damaged, he's not getting there. Also, the one who shall not be named is also pitting soon.
Only 7 kilograms of fuel. Not a lot of tire wear at all, though.
And a small drive error by RK38.
A good-looking car. Shame to see it go off the track like that.
That
Also,
car is, I think that car was based on the AAU lineup, which is basically like just a modified street car. It has, I think, McPherson struts on the front, semi-trailing arms on the rear. It's a very interesting design for a race car, I would say. Usually,
I've got a soft spot for fastbacks.
I mean, usually you would go for a double wishbone front and rear suspension or on a race car. He went for semi-trailing arms and McPherson struts.
More of an old school design. I'm sure it saves some money. What's the power plant look like?
It's a V8 with single overhead cam 4 valve and 4 barrel carburetor, and a mechanical failure and an engine blow up.
Groundhog 2010, right after a crash.
He probably already was damaged.
Yeah, probably.
So 2 cars out.
And Bavarian looked at him and accidentally slipped in second gear from 5th.
Lost focus. And with 32.1 reliability, a decent number, I'm sure there's plenty of cars running that level around the track. So and he stopped in the chicane there on the front, so that's a pretty big stretch of sections of the race that are currently under caution.
Groundhog has been removed from the track,
removed.
and yeah, everything clean again.
We waited for that moment of engines blowing up.
Well, there's your first one this race. And he was running towards the front, was he
Mr.
not?
Troll is back in the pits.
He's just cooling his engine so that it doesn't fail.
And taking a full tank of fuel. And he's dropping and dropping and dropping. He's now on par with the one who shall not be named.
He's in the pits now, taking on fuel. My car will be venturing to the pits soon. I'm down to 10 kilograms, and I took a walk through the garage area for a little bit there, and it seems like a lot of people tried to pinpoint when the rain would come, including my own team, and figure out exactly when they should set their thresholds as far as when to take an unscheduled stop. Some people, like Marat, hit the nail on the head and got it right. My team missed it by a little bit, and it's going to cost us when we're going to have to pit here, even though we've already come in to take tires.
Ooh, a driver error from the Bob Wiley.
Yeah, big one.
He touched some of the cones and yeah, he broke some of his car.
Probably a tire
30%
stack,
damage.
a chicane.
A
Or
concrete
tire stack.
cone.
Could be, but it's a hit for him because that will mean he will drop now a bit.
Was in which position?
He
was
was
fifth.
in
Oh,
fifth.
it was in 5th.
He's now giving Absurdist and Kulki the chance, but he's fighting with Kulki.
Let's see if he's going to the
Cars
pits.
that have any chance to
The
keep up
three-way
the pace of
battle. Absurdist now has dropped 3 spots.
yes.
Cool Key, Mr. Chips, and Taekwondo all took the opportunity, got up the inside, and shuffled Absurdist back from 6th to 9th.
That
There's
was
still,
an
yeah,
interesting.
6, yeah.
Yes, that may be his drawback.
The Bob Wiley is holding up the other cars, it seems, up to 10th place.
Talking about holding up, Troller Coaster is on 24th place, running just 1/19.
Leo, pit stop.
That 30% damage is not doing him any favors.
But he's pulling away from the other guys again, so he's maybe losing a second a lap, but he's still faster than his direct competitors there.
Yeah, Troller Coaster's kind of fallen into the pocket where there's no one faster than him behind him, and no one can catch him. But he's not going to be able to make any passes anytime soon.
Yeah, he has to
People
drive.
123 has had an eventful race so far.
A lot of drive errors, yeah.
Yeah, the tires are worn now, and conditions are not easy.
The question is, will we see a safety car this race, or will we not? Absurdus is down to 12th place.
He was...
Please slow down a lot.
Yes, his,
Yeah,
his tires are wearing out, and he's running on slick tires, and the rain is slowly picking up again. That's
He's running on a
not
strategy without unplanned pit stops, and that's costing him.
good. That's a risky strategy.
My car came in for its planned pit stop. Missed the raining strategy by just a few laps by the looks of it.
We're currently right at 50% of the race,
Yes,
so
it's,
I don't think you planned to switch on wets right now.
we are basically
No, I had
halfway
planned
through.
I had planned 45% first stop, and I was hoping that I had set my replace first stop with wide enough so that when the rain crossed the threshold, I would come in. But I missed it by just enough because I planned to have a long stretch. Yeah, I was going for a 2-stop race, so it'll make it 3 stops for me now.
Yeah.
And Marat is still pulling away from everyone. It's amazing how his strategy worked out so good.
But the engine will work out.
Yes, the engine will still be worked out. It couldn't explode.
Of course, you know, the driver has the opportunity. He doesn't have to run it all the way to the red line. You can coast through the corners a little bit more, take your time with your shifts. He doesn't have any pressure on him. He's got a 25-second buffer. There's no need to, you know, wind it out.
Or he could just go full power.
And break the car out.
Yes, he could do the Jeremy Clarkson, which is the right way to do. Only full throttle, only full power. Speed and power is the way to go.
So Richard
switched
to wet tires.
And another driver error for me. Jesus.
How much drivable is that car?
It should be at least better
It's
than roller coasters.
His difficulty is 1.5. His track drivability is 25.8. Track sportiness 38.3. Got 257 horsepower is all that car is putting out from a naturally aspirated 2.5 liter single overhead cam 3-valve V8 flat plane.
But his
tires are
tires,
265/60s all the way around.
his tires are dead. They are at 30% wear, so that explains it, I guess.
Yes, and another driver error.
The car has impressive cornering though. It's 1.17 slow speed and 1.16 at high speed, but the problem is when you lose grip, you lose grip.
And it doesn't have much power.
Marat with a
Marat
driver
did a driver
error.
error.
I don't know that he took any damage though.
And
But that's going to cost his lead.
And he's still at first place, but it will cost him some seconds.
Yeah, well, 2 seconds or 3 maybe.
Someone just mentioned in pits that P-Boy is actually listening to Initial D Euro beats, which may be the reason why he's drifting through all the corners.
Of course.
As you know, when you drift you can hit barricades and that will cause issues.
07 Cobalt Girl in the pits. Planned pit stop here. Crossed the halfway mark a few laps ago.
And Absurd is finally pit and probably took on
pits.
intermediate tires now.
Yep.
So to go through the top of the running order, we've got Marat in first. Critical Set 23 seconds behind in second. Air Jordan up to third place after a mid-teen starting. Haller Automotive in fourth. The Bob Wiley in fifth. Critical Set just went in the pits actually from second place. Huffster in sixth. Mr. Chips in seventh. Der Bayer in eighth. RC Racer 11M in 10th, and Taekwondo in 9th. Somehow skipped him over there.
What's interesting about Air Jordan is that his car is naturally aspirated on sports tires.
And now in second place. And tire wear for Merritt is now kicking in. He's losing time.
He's indeed losing a lot of time, but he has a gap of 40 seconds to the second place, which could save him a lot. Also, Mr. Drifto is getting into the pits for a tire change.
Tire wear, so that was the threshold at 30%.
Which will mean less drifting for him.
Yeah, he has not enough power to drift. Some laps then. Maybe he will start at the end of the race again.
Well, now he has fresh tires, now he can't drift anymore, but with one tire on a track he can.
Yeah.
Also, we have one car still on slick, which is Gilp 0140.
I don't think they have any unplanned stops. He's been on those tires and he's down to 3 kilograms of fuel, so I think he's going on a one-stop strategy, and the question is will he switch to intermediate tires now? Of course, the question is how much does that benefit you down in 38th position? But perhaps it's given him a couple of more spots over the close competitors. I mean, only the top 10 cars are still on the lead lap.
Also, we now can see that Mr. 600 horsepower is not gaining back to the top 10.
The rain
And
is
he's-
working against him.
Yep, the rain
And
is
he's right
against him.
before his next pit stop.
He
Already,
is
so-
passing. He is passing cars though
Yes, but
until he has to pit.
He is not fast enough to iron this out.
No, Rizzo and Roller Coaster are actually battling right now.
They are.
For
Also, the Bavarian
15th
is
place.
in the pits.
Another planned pit stop.
On 11th position. Probably really lost a few more.
And Mr. Troll is pitting as well. Also, the last remaining car with slicks is in the pits now. Will he get on Intes? Or will he stay on Intes? Oh, will he stay on slicks?
You would certainly hope they're going to put intermediate tires on. They have no reason to stay on slicks.
They don't have to, but you don't know how the
Yeah.
pit crew is thinking sometimes.
And
The
they
weather's
are
also
on,
opening a bit.
Slick tires?
still on slicks.
He
Still
Is he
on
moving already?
slicks.
He left the
doesn't
pits.
even-
He didn't change the tires, he stays on his old tires.
He
I'm
didn't even plan a pit stop, so it was an unplanned fuel stop. That explains it.
Wow.
And his tire wear threshold was too high.
Also, Marat is now having 23% tire wear, and his lap times are considerably much slower than Howler Automotive's.
But he's got a 39-second lead.
And the front-wheel driven car makes a drive error. What is going on here?
Understeers, it is
It's
called.
probably doing massive understeer.
The Bob Wiley's still back in 11th. He's lost a lap now. And
Also,
Marat
it
doesn't
seems
come in
that
soon.
the pit crew of Roller Coaster must be
Oh!
drunk because his
Marat
tires...
is on pit road.
He is indeed.
Marat is on the
But
beat.
will Howler Automotive catch up to him?
Well, he's coming into the last chicane
And
now.
Howler
And he
Automotive is in
pitting
pits
too.
as
They're
well.
both in the pits. Marat's going to get out. Oh, and a big driver
And
error
he's drifting
from
again.
P-Boy.
He just hit the tire stacks again.
Marat again. He comes in, gets a full tank of fuel. He's got brand new tires. I don't think we'll see him on pit road for the rest of the race.
Yes, it
probably
was
not.
his last pit probably. Unless the rain is picking up and we have 100% tire track wetness, then he has to pit.
Howler Automotive comes out of the pits down in 7th. He lost 4 places, but instantly passes Mr. Chips on fresh tires. So he's down to 6th now. He dropped 3 places out of that pit stop. So Marat in first, Air Jordan 5.7 seconds back, the smallest margin we've seen in a while, but Marat's going to pull him now. He just put a whole nother second on him in that last sector.
And rain is now at 36%.
Yes, the track is getting
Basically
dry.
nothing.
Now this is where it could get interesting. Who put their rain threshold too high? There's quite a few people on pit road right now, although I think they're all planned.
Except for
Or no,
Bob Loblaw, who went for fuel because unplanned.
He's running in 56th place. I have a feeling that he was on a just run her until she's out. He didn't take new tires. Bob Loblaw came in for fuel. He has 26% wear on the rear, 23% on the front, in 56th place.
Drunken pit crew.
I think this is just an entry who left the strategy at the Diepholz without planned pit stops and tire wear threshold at 30%.
Absurdus is back climbing on 18th place now.
Also, Marat has opened up a 10-second lead over the second place car, who is now Critical Set 9849, who has overtaken Air Jordan after his pit stop.
Cool K is pitting. Also, my car has to pit soon because the tire on the front is extreme.
Ulkey has significant amount of tire wear, but also, let's see here, is that AK Ammo in 16th place? He's got 32% wear on the rear and 29 in the front, and still has 19 kilograms of fuel. He's running 124s. That's really not competitive. First person running a 124 on regular strategy is running on wet tires, Dr. Narfi in 50th position. So we do have two cars on wets, Dr. Narfi and Extreme Accordion, both running 50th and 51st, and they're running 126s.
And Mera driving 117s. And the Bob Wiley is also running very close to 117 flat.
But Paul Automotive is even running 116.
Wow. 116.99.
He just has a 36 or 38 second gap to overcome. Air Jordan really hit the nail on the head with his pit strategy. Look, he's only running 120.55 laps, but he's up there with those lead cars because he came in to get tires at just the right time. It really punted him up into the top 5, and he's been able to hang out there because he's got almost 20 seconds back to his nearest competitor, Puffster.
I wonder how AK Ammo can be so fast with so heavily worn tires.
He's going 7 seconds slower than the leader.
Right, that's what I was saying. He's really not going that fast.
But still, he's in 17th place, and if you look at how other people are driving, and his car is still quite fast for those worn tires.
Yeah, I agree. Also, because the best lap was set probably with almost dry track, so I think he's running fine after all for that tire wear.
Yeah.
For now, I think most of his benefit came from the fact that he didn't stop when everyone else did. Looking at his car, he's got 504 horsepower. I think it's naturally aspirated, a 4.3 liter double overhead cam 4-valve V8. It's got 165 90s on the front and 265 55s on the rear. He's running semi-slick tires. Drivability is 34.7 and his sportiness is 34.3, so his difficulty is 1.
So pretty much a drivable car.
He's got a giant spoiler mounted on the front and rear bumper. The flat, matte black car, no lights. Makes you wonder how he's keeping him on the track with this overcast sky.
Maybe the track has lightning, you don't know. Also, Troller Coaster is now running super slow times with his 600 horse engine.
And he's down to 25th. He's behind the diesel car.
And P-Boy is drifting again.
He just keeps picking up a little damage.
Drifting is fun. The wet helps to save tires while drifting. Probably that's why P-Boy is doing that.
Also,
got some more planned pit stops coming up.
What's worth a mention is Rizzo. He started back in 30th place, and he's now
10th place.
He was on 10th place. He had to pit, but
just came out of the pits.
He is far up.
DW rules. Our 10th place car with a pretty big driver error takes on almost 20% damage. There's Bob Loblaw coming in again. He had just come in for fuel, remember, and we remarked he didn't take tires. How long has it been? A couple of laps, and now he has to make a second stop.
And we have just 5 cars on the same lap now.
Wow.
Everyone is 1 lap behind.
It wasn't that... The last race wasn't that bad.
Yep, but we can just hope for a safety car phase now.
Doesn't help a lot because
it doesn't help a lot.
First 5.
Yeah.
It would get the whole field together a bit more.
Yeah, Marat has a 38.5 second lead right now. Power Automotive is going to need something to happen if he wants to be able to compete with that. I mean, your third place car is the Bob Wiley. Oh, man.
I wonder how much he has now.
You can see the car just kind of limping along the backstretch there. He's just building up damage every corner, it seemed.
I think Peebo is listening to Deja Vu all the time.
Anyway, the P-Boy driver, I'm going to hug him at the race because they're really brave to do something like that.
That car must be atrocious for that poor driver.
Yeah, look at the tiredness. He's really tired as a driver. Probably the most tired of all the drivers. And I was expecting the roller coaster driver would be the most stressed one, but so.
Well, he's also tired of the car.
Yeah, probably.
It has to make the other drivers around him nervous. You get somebody make a driver error when you're both diving into a corner if you're trying to overtake him if you're the faster car. You know, that's how accidents happen.
And then he's going in, doing a drift, a mad drift, and just listening to Eurobeats and making contact with the tire barricade all the time.
This seems catching up a lot. Going to be worse.
Also, Trollacosta is back in the pits. Who
Of
knew?
course. Not big surprise.
I hope he's getting fresh tires soon, because
Yeah,
they
yeah.
are shot.
Yeah.
Speaking of shot tires,
And
But
remember
he's
AK
out of
ammo?
points, and he probably will need another pit stop. So
yes, he will need another pit stop. But, Wolfer mentioned, rain is picking up again. It was 34 just a couple of minutes ago, and now it's again on 57 and increasing. And with the rain, also the whole driver error is increasing.
But going to hit the threshold for wet tires or not?
We will see. We still have
This
around.
could change a lot of things.
Well, probably
Maybe
not for the
not so
top
much.
5, but
Yeah,
I
okay.
think for the whole midfield, going from 5th place to 20th place, it could change a lot.
Well, but it could change if the different cars have different pit strategy about the
Yes.
amount of wetness for cars. So that's what I meant. That Ikeyama, you really have to change the tires.
I was about to get to that right before the conversation changed. He's up to 43% on the rear, 38% on the front, but here's the good thing, hopefully for the driver, he's almost out of fuel at 3.8 kilograms. He
Also-
needs to pit soon.
P-Boy, man, he's having worn out tires again.
Another driver out.
And doing all
Yeah.
the drifts.
driver errors usually wear out tires a bit more as well. So it's a death spiral he's in, and he will never get out.
It's like a circle that will never close. That's always closed, never open. Something like that.
Downward spiral.
Yes, he will spin because of his tire wear, which will cause even more tire wear, which will cause even more spins.
Well, there's only 14 laps to go. Let's go through the top 10 here. We've got Marat in first, Haller Automotive in second, the Bob Wiley in third, Critical Set 9849 in fourth, Air Jordan in fifth, the last car on the lead lap, Puffster in sixth, Dare Buyer in seventh, Mr. Chips in eighth, RC Racer 11M in ninth, and Lordred in 10th.
Wow!
And he drops to 11th.
And back on time.
You just
Back to
mentioned
10.
him and he fell to 10th place.
Lordred and Taekwondo battling for
And
10th place as they
AKMO went in
swap
for pit
positions
stop.
back and forth. Taekwondo running a 121.5, but Lordred's running a 124.9, but they're still battling it out. Lordred's on very worn tires, whether they've worn evenly at 19% in the rear and 20% in the front, but he's down to 10 kilograms of fuel. He's had a stint in the top 10, but I see him
AKMO
dropping a little bit.
went in for pits and he didn't change his tires.
Yeah.
He
You're
just,
kidding.
He just refueled and he's now driving with 46%.
The same thing.
I
Unspent
so
stop for fuel, not above tire wear threshold. He's probably set it to 50.
I've sent
Why?
someone to the pit stop and I asked what happened. They told me they forgot to buy the tires.
Rain
so they
is
just have
heavy
one
now.
set of tire.
We have heavy
Oh,
rain.
heavy downpour. Now, we
Yes.
expected this in the last third of the race. It's come with 13 to
It's
go.
coming
Haller
now.
Automotive is in the
And
pits.
Howler is it's, yeah. probably
Howler
going
Looks like
to
it's
win.
a planned
Wet.
stop, though.
Could be a good strategy right now to
No,
go in
he's staying.
for
It was
wet.
planned. It was planned stop. He's going back out on intermediates.
P-Boy is getting back in the pits.
For tire wear. How surprised is that?
Needs more tires for drifting.
We're about to hit 70% rain here as the storm has seriously picked up. It's gotten very dark
70%.
here at Diepholz. 69% with a downpour. Lap times are going to start to move all over the place.
People are going in for wet tires. Lordred has gone in for wet tires. And
Lordred
P-Boy
might have been a regular stop.
with a
He was
fresh
getting
set,
low on fuel.
fresh set of tires, fresh set of drift.
Lot
Boy,
of
wow.
cars stopping for weather.
Now, Lordred planned it perfectly. Lordred needed to go in for fuel. He's come out on wet with just enough to make it to the end there.
Everyone
Good
now
planning
pitting
on
in.
his pit crew.
Also, Troller Coaster went in for full refuel and tires, so he could do a complete run now without refueling anymore.
76 kilograms of fuel. He's on wet. Will it last till the end of the race?
At
Looking
least he's
at
a
how
few
it's
laps down, so it should be enough. 3 laps down. Yeah.
Everyone is now going on wet tires with a track wetness of 75% and picking up.
I think we need to keep our eye on that 23 car. He's on sports tires, and he might hold out.
Yes,
he doesn't have to
Air
pit.
Jordan has sports tires. That could work out for even intermediates. But I'm more worried about Marat. He has to pit soon for wets. Critical said he also has to pit in for wets soon. And yet they have a 1 minute gap to... Marat has a 1 minute gap to Critical said already. 1 minute.
79%, yes.
Basically. He has a free tire stop if he wants to make one.
If he makes
My
one,
question
yes.
is, does he? Does he come in?
80% wetness now and 10 laps to go.
Yeah, I
This was
think my
serious,
car will
a
spit
big
now.
spike in
A
rain.
bit.
AK ammo.
82%.
50%.
And
What
he
is that
cannot
man
go
waiting on?
Fitting. He
Oh,
is
51.
fitting.
Yeah, he
He's
can go.
getting the
Final.
tires now.
Does he take tires?
I think he's
He has
taking wet
to.
tires.
He has to. My driver went home last race for less than that. The driver in that car must be furious with the crew chief.
Yes! AK ammo has a fresh set of tires.
Hardware. Finally.
Yeah, and rain tires.
He might make up a couple of positions. We'll be able to see what the car's potential is now. He's got the
11th
same tires
place.
as everybody else.
Marat is staying on Inters. The track wetness is picking up to 85% now.
But his opponents are not gaining enough.
Yes,
The
they are
leaders
not.
are all on Inters. Only Bob Wiley is on wets and he's 2 minutes down.
But this is what we expect in the last third of the race. Heavy rain.
And we are almost over the 90-minute mark where we don't know what's happening.
Oh.
Yes, the forecast is just for 90 minutes of race.
What a shitty forecast is it? I have to complain.
It's 70s tech forecast.
Really?
It's for,
Why not?
for 70s technologies, that's
That's-
pretty good.
What?
Well, but we know what the
Vauxhall
weather...
stays-
Well, I should fill the complaint. Where I have to fill the complaint.
We know what the weather's going to do for another 25 seconds. And then after that, a hurricane could come, the sun could come out, we don't know.
Maybe the
They
sun
start to
will
go
just-
like 80, 70, 60, 50, 30, 40, 50, 60. What? Stop!
Oh,
We got caution
100.
flags out.
Yes, yellow flags on sector 2.
Looks like Lordred with a pretty big driver error there. What a shame. He was having a good run. That's going to cost him a few positions. He's running in 15th currently.
Sadly, but he's still having a very good run, nevertheless.
The Bob Wiley is currently 4 seconds faster than the race leader, but it doesn't help.
Yeah,
the race
he
is
has
too
2
short.
minutes, 120 seconds to cover. Yeah, 30 laps to go, then he's winning.
Marat just won this race, I want to say on pit road, but it was really by staying off of pit road. He came in when he needed to, he timed it perfectly, he got his tires, and he just dusted everyone. No one else was close enough to take a stab at him, and it doesn't matter that anyone else is faster. He just got it right. The pit crew earned their keep today.
Marat had the perfect strategy for this race, and of course, this situations, the events were perfect for him as well. Rollercoaster is sitting at 34th place.
He just stalled
and
out.
Boom,
He's not
Nevermore
capable.
is out. Engine blown up.
Another engine with over 33 reliability.
Well, the issue was cooling and drift.
T-Boy. T-Boy again.
Our beloved drifter.
Who shall be
He
named
shows.
Takumi123.
I think they're in the wrong race series.
Yeah, I think they actually wanted to go to Japan and doing downhill races instead.
That driver is going to be so frustrated when they get out of the car today.
I just want to see how tired the driver is. He must be completely tired of the car.
Well, see, and that's the thing. It's not like his pressure's up high. I don't think his tiredness is that high. We haven't really seen tiredness come into play here. Although, no, P-Boy, look how tired that driver is compared to the rest of the field there, down in 37th.
He's like, is it 60% tired? He's tired.
Yeah, I'd ballpark it around there.
He's actually tired of the car and of the race.
It's just been a struggle for him today. Also, all of that, he's still ahead of AK Ammo.
And it's running a little bit faster than when he was.
The rain track wetness is now down to 80% again. It's going down.
It's still raining pretty
Brown.
hard. It's just kind of leveled off a little bit here. So, if anybody with those really high wet thresholds, they might skirt away with not making a stop because there's only 3 to go in the second race of the BRC 76 season.
3 laps to go. The Bob Wiley is catching up, but he's not catching up fast enough. His driver is going strong. He's not making any driver errors, not making any mistakes, and crashing nothing at all.
Well, he's got a giant cushion, a full minute.
But maybe now
That's
that we mentioned
2/3
him,
of a lap.
now that we mentioned him, he will be jinxed and he will crash out and will cry at us because we jinxed him.
UM Gaming, a 60% driver error there, just a little bit of damage. Be able to continue on his way.
Every car
He's
is
having a
going strong.
decent run today.
Yeah.
He lost a spot in that. He's down to 42nd. He's 3 laps down.
But a very
Holla
consistent
Automotive.
race.
Holla Automotive is going for 2nd place. He's catching up quickly, and maybe we're gonna have enough time. They still have 3 laps to go when they cross the line. So
They
We
have.
perhaps disable auto scroll for the last 2 laps to keep tabs on the leaders.
Yes.
Critical set. He's got about 4 seconds here on Haller Automotive, but Haller Automotive, like Martin said, he's about 2 seconds a lap on him. It could be a sprint to the line. Air Jordan still hanging out there in 4th. The pit strategy really worked out well for him. He's just behind Haller Automotive as well, and he's actually not running that bad of a lap time at 1:23.7. He's hung out there. He's running faster than the 2nd place car.
He
On
could
a
catch up to
two-stop
2nd
race,
place.
and
He
Sport-
could
yep.
catch up.
He's got sports tires. Working out well for him. Huffster also having a really good race, a good recovery from last time. Crashed out in the first race.
A big driver error by Agnew. And the
I
cars
think I
are
saw him earlier.
blazing by now. The throttle are pushed down to the maximum.
It's the last lap, And Marat has taken it, the white flag, going into the corner. He's right behind Puffster, who's in 5th. He's still 6 seconds back to 2nd, and unless something happens here, you can put this one away. Critical Set, though, down to a very slim margin over Haller Automotive as they come to take the white flag as they go through the last set of chicanes on the penultimate lap. P-Boy again with a driver error.
It's a fight for 2nd place between Critical Set and Haller Automotive now, and P-Boy again drifts around.
Gap is
Second and
1.3 seconds, and Haller Automotive is catching up by 1.6 seconds per lap. So
it seems like Haller Automotive in that 77 car will catch Critical Set. The question is, can he pass?
Across the line.
Cross the line.
First
and
place
is
for
first.
Marat. And guess who's in the pits now?
Roller coaster.
Yeah. He entered the pit
right.
when he lost 1 place, but yeah, who cares?
Coming into the last sharp corner, it's still Critical Set with a
Critical
slight
Set
lead,
still
but they're
second.
right behind each other.
Still second.
They're coming into the
Plus the
last set of
chicane.
chicanes. Will Haller Automotive outbrake him going in? The gap is 0.3 of a second.
So
They're
it's
coming
a
out of the
run
last set of
onto the finish
chicanes. The
line.
speed are the same. It's going to be
Critical Set is on 2nd place, very, very, very close behind is
Haller
Haller Automotive.
about 0.2 of a second. 0.3 of a second, sorry,
was
separated
very,
them.
very close.
Air Jordan comes home in 4th, ahead of Puffster in 5th. The Bob Wiley in 6th, Garrett Beyer in 7th. Leo 9613 in 8th, Ty Condoro in 9th, and Frankenstein with the recovery drive comes in 10th place.
Also,
your
worth
second
mentioning,
round.
Leo is on 8th place. He made it from completely down, completely up.
Yeah, he was it 2 laps down?
He was 1 lap
Something like that.
down. He crashed out. I'm saving now.
Yes.
Oh, fuck it.
Yeah, it's okay.
Oh, 32. Yes, let's take a look at the results of the race number 1. We know the top 10. So on the 11th place we have Mr. Chips. 12th place
Mr. Chips was 2nd in the first race, and
Yes.
now it's 11th place. Not too bad.
Good points there.
Absurdist. It was looking good for him, but he dropped to 13th place. Lord Red, really good race for him, 14th place. Then we
A
have
production car.
Yuka Kyle on 15th place.
That's
Then you have-
even with a miscalculation in the
Yes.
beginning of the race.
That's quite a well race for you. Then we have Reese on 16th place, also a damn good race for him. He came up from 34th place in the qualifying to 16th place. That's tremendous, I would say.
Also, to point out, look at 20th, 21st position. Look at the gap.
Wow.
Indeed.
We missed a battle somewhere.
Well, there was a big battle between the diesel car and Fail for like half of the race. They were just overtaking each other every lap, twice a lap. It
The
was a
diesel
lot of-
car came from. You qualified on 45 or something like that.
Yes, and you came up to 19th place, which for you is also a great race in that case.
Yeah. I have to say I was expecting a little bit more, but probably my car performed better on heavy wet.
Probably. The wet was a bonus for actually everyone, I think, who was not fast enough. The front-wheel driven car on 26th place. In qualifying, I think it was around 30. Not too much of a gain. The tire wear was too extreme for pit stop strategy.
The AK Ammo and P-Boy, 1, 2, 3, both came home pretty close to each other there in 36th and 37th. One
is,
sliding around the racetrack, and one just didn't feel like pitting. The amount of time that car probably lost.
That's interesting because Pivo was just sliding and drifting around. It went on 36th place, and AKM, which went around with tires who already distracted themselves, went on 37th right behind him. That's an interesting way.
Also, right there in 38th, too, we're talking about people that got their strategies right and made a lot of ground up because of rain. CW Rules, they're down in 38th. He started 10th.
Yes, indeed. He was pretty much screwed by the strategy, by the rain, and by crashes, I think. Troller Coaster also went down from first place of the beginning of the race to 34th.
But he's on top of one list at least.
Yeah, but that's another reason in his case.
I know I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but his whole problem is if for any reason he makes an error, if he gets damaged, if he gets back in traffic, that car loses its edge. He really needs a race where he gets out in front, stays out in front, and can build a big enough gap that in the time it takes him to pit, he can actually get out in front again.
Yeah,
but it's not going to happen.
I'm quite sure the Nürburgring is going to be his race because we're expecting no kind of rain, so he probably could push a lot and show the strength of his car.
Let's see who took on the most pit stops, and there he is.
Yay.
On place number 1. He won something, which is the number of pit stops. 7 pit stops.
The Bob Wiley 6 pit stops and still finished on 5th or 6th position.
Yeah.
And
Bob
Haller
Wiley
Automotive.
on 6th place. Haller Automotive,
Haller Automotive.
5 pit stops.
Yep, and Leo. His recovery drive. You can pit and come back here.
Yes, the issue is not the pitting. The number of pits is not the issue. I think how you pit is the issue, for what and for what reasons. Which is, I think, the problem for Troller, because he has to pit every single time for refueling and changing tires. That costs a lot of time.
Well, I mean, you know you're going to have to refuel. The tires don't cost you anything.
And then we go to the leading laps, and the winner has the most leading laps. Who knew?
It was dominated. Ever since that first pit stop where they timed it right, he got out front and never looked back.
Yes, he timed his pit stop perfectly right in that case.
Good
Then-
strategy wins you races.
Fuel consumption 445
445 kilos. Damn it.
I'm speechless.
That's a lot. that is seriously a lot.
All right, folks. I want somebody to switch that to liters. I want to know how much that would have cost. That is an insane amount of fuel.
That is insane. I mean, if you look at it, there's like the nerd could drive 2 races with that amount of fuel.
It's almost 600 kilos of liters of fuel.
600 liters of fuel.
That's what, close to 200 gallons. Can I get that in freedom units? Divide that by 3.78, please.
Freedom units.
Norman Vauxhall knows the
50
conversion
like-
best.
No, not.
Yeah, who cares? This is the conversion.
Pretty much. Yeah, the fuel consumption is interesting. Where is Norman Vauxhall? The diesel is very economical. It's interesting. The front-wheel driven car is under 100 kilos of fuel.
So you can
Maybe you're not
run
dominating
five
the
races.
race anymore.
Now this graph it's messy, but I think it is
It's
interesting
actually
to see.
usable up top.
Marad was down here, and
I think the next graph will be more useful, the gap.
yes, that will be
Probably.
more useful.
Mhm.
This gap,
Eh,
yeah, it's you can see Marad was somewhere down here, and then he came back up.
Yeah, you can see where he came to the lead, and then just a giant gap that formed. There was no one close to him. Everybody just plummets right at that first stop.
It was close here for Critical Set. It was very close here.
I think that was when they both pitted at the same
Yes.
time for their second stop, and then that was it.
And then Critical Set had to went to the pits for wet tires, and that was when it plummeted down. Actually, for everyone went for pits on wets, and it went boom down. In the terms of damage, who had the most damage? It was obviously Groundhog, who died in an accident. But also,
Yeah, he just didn't come in for a repair, and it cost him.
also P-Boy, who accumulated a lot of damage in all his drifting attempts.
Yeah, he
But then
probably hit some
Leo-
tire stacks there.
Leo had
Leon
a
had
big
a bad
crash in
crash.
the beginning of the race, and
And
the
he still comes
midway,
back.
then he repaired, and in the midway of the race he also crashed and repaired it as well, and then he still came back in top 10.
And CW rules there, we talked about him dropping. He started in 10th, and he took on quite a bit of damage throughout the race. Probably had to make a couple of pit stops to keep it serviceable.
Talking about pit stops, Troller Coaster spent a lot of time in pit stops, and that's why we can see the number of pit stops does not represent how long you spent there. I mean, the Bob Wiley, he went for 6 pit stops, and he just took under 2 minutes there, while Troller Coaster almost went 3 minutes in the stop. So
Well, that's about, it's a little less than 20 seconds to stop. Those were all regular stops for, the Bob Wiley. He was able to take on 20 seconds worth of fuel, get his tires, and get out. Roller Coaster needed 76 kilograms of fuel every single stop.
Can you scroll down?
And the 60 seconds, it's maybe that would cost him 10 or 20 places. And then we will see tire wear. Who won the most tires? Again, Norman Voxer, your car is very economical even on tires.
I'm running on sports tires, that's also why.
And,
Also, so my car...
and
so
on
go ahead.
low camber too?
Yeah, medium, low camber is.
Very good.
Yeah, and that's the same recipe for my car and Air Jordan. And look at Air Jordan finishes in the top 5. I was 15th. So sports tires work.
They do work. It's sports tires have sense. But
Depends.
Air Jordan and I coordinated as to our car design.
We thought AKMO is bad on tire wear. Well, drifting is even worse.
Oh,
Of course.
really chewed through in there. Matt MR2 actually surprisingly high tire wear.
Indeed. And a number of refs. I don't understand why we have this stat.
It's interesting.
I do want to see, is Marat up high there? Because it says he's got low reliability, but it seems like the people that run a lot of revs are the ones that...
21st place.
Yeah, so he you know what, he can get away, I guess, maybe with the reliability. His engine doesn't have to turn over that many times.
Can be.
If you could pull anything from this list, because it's kind of hard to draw any conclusions from it.
May I suggest a small, just an
The refs?
okay, I don't find the words. No, about a couple of a suggestion for this these statistics. Probably the cars that didn't finish the race for some reason must be shown out here.
Yeah.
Something,
Maybe
so we
grade them
can
out a
understand
little bit,
which car have finished and which not.
I take a look at that.
So now we come to interesting side. Number of errors.
Wow.
16.
Bad. I think I couldn't have my heart safe if I knew that my driver going to make so much mistakes due to the past of my luck.
That's a lot, and the rest is one error. Actually, if you look at it, Marat made one error, which he didn't affect him at all.
Remember that one error he made earlier, lost a couple seconds. Yeah. Yeah. Now, but that P-Boy's car, he made 16 errors. His difficulty is only 1.5.
But he was always very bad on tire wear.
That's true. His camber must be ridiculous.
I would guess it's a 6 on the camber, 6 or something like that.
-6, yes.
He's also
Yeah.
also running 265s all the way around, and that can't be good for turning.
Ooh. Yes, 265 if it is yes.
On slick tires, that's
Yeah.
not good.
And 265 60s all the way around on slicks.
Let's see who went the fastest around the track and
Stop.
Yeah.
Oh, done.
23 kilometers faster than the Bob White. That's extreme.
Mhm.
And what did it give to him? Nothing. All the speed for nothing.
Yeah, it's great until you have to make that first corner.
Well, probably, as I said, Norris Ring and in Mainz Finten, probably roller coaster will bright.
Yes, Norris Ring can be interesting for him because the straight he will just stomp off, driving to up to 300 maybe, and then braking again. Could be interesting for him.
The straight in Mainz-Finden is a bit longer, I guess. It's almost 1 kilometer. So let's see if he hits the 300 kilometers per hour mark there.
Well, if there's anywhere he's going to do it, I mean, his gearing is set really high, but his top speed is only 302. So
If he does reach the 300 kilometers per hour, he needs a parachute to brake down because the distance will not be enough.
could you imagine that crash though, if something happened?
Will be fantastic. 300% damage, instant safety car.
Would have to have a moment of silence in the teaser video.
But I also think that roller coaster can shine on Hockenheim Ring. I mean,
Yeah.
the one straight, it's a bend, or a bend-ish, but he can go quite fast there as well.
It's more of getting up to speed out of a tight corner. I think a very, wide radius corner where he's already at speed, he'll be able to take it just fine. His cornering stats aren't bad. They're 1.13 and 1.14 respectively. It's just, what do you do with 644 horsepower, in 1976?
But he has the massive turbo spooling up to, I don't know, a lot. So out of the corners he can accelerate pretty fast if he wants to. The question is, how is his gearing for that? Will it be useful?
Seems to be very long gearing.
Yeah, I think this race was quite interesting. I didn't think that would happen in this race.
Could you open the detailed championship standings? Yeah.
Yes. So we can see Marat is driving a pretty strong competition this time. He went on, what was it? I think 6th place last time, and now
it's
first
fourth
place, or 4th place. So he's doing really good right now. He has a big chance on being on the podium of this horse, but it's just the second race, so all could change.
Looks like your most consistent driver here is Air Jordan. He's got 28 points from last race, 30 points from this race, so putting together a pretty good run so far. The question is what'll win out, being first or consistency?
The consistency will be the big key here. We have Rezo also quite consistent, but not consistent enough or not good enough to be on the podiums, on the top 10s. Norman
You can say the same for Maddie.
The last race was twice as good, you could say.
Mm-hmm. I was also, he reached the 3rd place in the first part of the race, thanks probably to the rain, and I don't think it's going to happen anymore.
Maybe you will explode and crash out again.
Maybe if we could scroll down, maybe if there were any front runners that kind of had a bad weekend.
Roller coaster.
Roller coaster. He
Well,
didn't get
I
any
don't.
points.
Yeah, he didn't get any points. Period. His points came from qualifying, but it looks like that pretty much no one else here at pretty consistent there. But I think if you scroll just a little bit there, you'll see some people that had a nice recovery up. If you don't mind. Puffster and the Bob Wiley both great recoveries this week after a poor first race. So they're still in the hunt.
Everything is still very open. Everything can happen. Basically, everything can happen.
And it takes only one
exactly
safety car phase, and the race is completely different.
That's why I always hope for a safety car every time. So
it would have
changes.
been imperfect today after 50% of the race.
Yet there was no safety car. Also, a good recovery was for your car, Kyle.
That
0
we
points
considered
before.
we actually left the pits. We made sure that we found a driver that doesn't mind not being on ovals.
Yeah, maybe I have to pay the driver even more money, so he will drive everywhere. Maybe that was the issue last time.
We just went and found a different driver. We have an event that we're going to use him for, I think, and but we went and sourced somebody else to make sure that right turns weren't a problem.
The good old oval problem. Only right turns. But yeah, I think that's it for this race. Was a very interesting race, I think.
It was a great ending.
Yeah, the ending was excellent.
And the rain really threw a wrench in there. We saw a lot of different strategies play out. Recovery drives. I'm pretty sure BRC 76 is exactly what the event coordinators were hoping for.
I just hope that will be even more interesting in the following races on Norris Ring, one of the faster tracks this time.
Have anything to say about that track as we look ahead?
We basically should already know it from previous seasons. This time we will have a completely somewhat dry race, which should make strategy planning pretty easy and straightforward. I expect that the competition will be a bit more cramped up at the front, so we'll have a more exciting race for the lead.
I'm going to ask the question I'm sure everyone is thinking. How long will we have to wait for the third race of BRC?
At least 2 weeks.
There you have it, folks.
Just 2 weeks, and then we have the third race of the automation of Bavarian Racing Challenge on Norris Ring.
And we'll bring it to you live.
Norris Ring will be interesting because that will be the track where all the high power cars will shine. Because
and Hockenheim right after that too.
Yes, because Norris Ring, what does it have? It has 90 degrees corners and then a straight, 90 degree corner straight.
Yes, I don't remember, but Mainz, Finten, and Kassel Calden have similar layouts.
Yeah, they are very similar as well. So it could be that the turbo cars can win on those trucks. But then
the great equalizer of the green hell.
Everyone waits on the green hell. I think Kassel Calden will be interesting to this track. Diepholz, very similar.
Yeah.
Well, is that another abandoned airfield?
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
So how about the track that we're going to? Is it also an abandoned airfield?
No, that's
Norris
road.
Ring is a track in the middle of Nuremberg. It's next to some old Third Reich stuffs, I guess.
Yeah.
It's pretty much on normal street tarmac.
Yeah. Temporary street circuit, yeah.
All right. Well, I'll have to brush up on my history before the next race.
Well, the whole grounds around have a lot of history to them.
And the track is still being used nowadays in
Yes.
DTM racing, so
It's used up until now.
there's a lot of information in the internet, I guess.
Well, fantastic. I'll hopefully be able to put together another good teaser for you folks. I hope you've been liking them thus far.
And I think on this bombshell, it's time to end this race.
Thanks for watching, folks.
Thanks for joining the commentary, you guys. It was a pleasure to have you in here.
Pleasure to be here.
And thank you guys for watching. And see you next race on Norris Ring.
Bye.
Bye.
So long.